Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and wherever and whenever you are. Oh my gosh, I almost messed it up. And welcome to the 12th episode or the 13th episode. I think it's 13. Yeah, the 13th episode of Take the Points.
A true underdog podcast. I will not fuck up my part. Let's be clear.
Man, that I couldn't have done. I couldn't have messed that up worse.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
I'm
Set the
Wilson,
tone.
and I'm here with Robbie and Steve.
What's up?
We're
Dude.
talking NFL. There's only one man to bring back. Unless we were talking WrestleMania, then we would also bring him back. Or weightlifting. Those would be about our three topics. That is Mr. Steve himself.
Listen. Don't get me started on WrestleMania.
I know.
WrestleMania was insane this year.
We're trying to keep this timely today. I should not even have wrestled WrestleMania, or I should not have even mentioned it. I mean, because that's going to tangent us here.
Wilson, let me just say, last week Robbie came to me. He said, "Dude, WrestleMania was pretty hype," and I was like,
"Are you
"Fuck
serious?"
Yeah, it was
Robbie,
lit.
you watched it?
I watched a lot of the highlights afterwards. I did not actually tune in on pay-per-view or whatever it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm impressed that you even watched the highlights.
Well,
you're
my brother-in-law
staunchly against.
My brother-in-law is a huge wrestling fan, so he definitely kind of gets me into it. Like I went to, was it SummerSlam, Steve? Is that what I went to last year?
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah, I was at SummerSlam. So I didn't know anything. I didn't know
great,
anybody. I was waiting for I don't know, Rikishi to come out or whatever, who's from who's the only guy I only mentioned. He puts his ass in people's face, I think, right? Steve, wasn't that his thing?
Yep, that was his thing. He stink face people.
I love that. I feel like I would lose my mind if I went to one of those events. I would have a blast.
It was awesome.
I guarantee. So, we're not going to do a whole lot of WrestleMania content, I'm sure. But let me just say, if you were a fan of wrestling in late 90s, early 2000s, this WrestleMania was it was just insane. It was tailor made to you. 100%.
When was this? When did this take place?
A week ago, April, the first weekend of April.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll maybe I'll go back and watch some highlights.
Yeah, you should.
I'll have a party next year. It'll be good.
I'll go.
So
done.
Awesome. Well, as Robbie,
we've lost we've lost 90% of the listening base.
Yeah, right.
And now we'll gain them back here because we're going to talk about something much more interesting, which is the NFL and the NFL draft. That's our big topic for today. So we're going to kind of look at the top picks, what might happen, some of the storylines, and of course we're going to focus a little bit on the Lions and what they're going to do with their top few picks and give our perspectives on what we think they should do. So that's kind of the plan for this episode today. But first, we're just going to cover really quick some big highlights of maybe just a couple things in Detroit sports and around sports in general. So Robbie, go for that.
Yeah, I'll be your DJ here. Yeah, we will fly through this. Quick updates. Detroit sports side, Tigers are 12-10. Just took a series today from Minnesota. So Wilson, I think our kind of preseason calls have been spot on, where their hitting has been pretty much atrocious. Their defense has been spotty at times, and their pitching and bullpen has been outstanding. So pretty much everything we said that was going to happen. Remember, we're marching toward that 20-30. Was what our prediction was. 25,
somewhere around 25. There. Yeah, we want to stay around 500. And I will say, this is the most I've gotten into the Tigers in a while. I'm watching a lot of this, a lot of their games. Good. And I feel like I know all the players, everybody. And it's fun. Something about, I don't know why, but this team for some reason is more fun for me than recent teams.
Yeah. They're winning in weird, exciting fashion too, coming back or winning a 2-1 ball game. Casey Mize today, Casey Mize coming back and looking good that's been great for me. Just icing on the cake.
Love it. The cardiac cats. Love it. Pistons 14-68, season in the books. They're hiring a new president of basketball operations that will babysit Troy Weaver in the worst NBA front office. There's really not a whole lot to say. I think we're probably going to have to save the rest of this for a pod, because I think it's going to be its own pod of what are the Pistons going to do this offseason? Just disarray, in a horribly, horribly disappointing season with a very bleak outlook. So we will cover that at some point, but just felt like we had to highlight the atrocious finish that we had to the season. Unfortunately,
Yeah, we're gonna have some core lineup changes. I think some of our guys that we've thought of as like the core, I think that's gonna change. Some big shakeup's gonna happen. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
I'm biting my tongue a lot on this Pistons content.
I know.
It's so bad. It's
So
just
bad.
so bad. And I'm already drinking, so it's like don't let me into my zone right now.
You and me both, brother.
Okay, there. I was like, I was kind of hoping I wasn't the only one.
I love it.
Cheers, bro. There we go.
Next, Red Wings unfortunately missed the playoffs. Super, super tough way to end the season. The only thing I'll say here is, as much hype as there was the last couple of games, and they really, had they made the playoffs, the way they made it would have been incredible. I mean, scoring goals down 4-1 last game of the season, 7 seconds to go. We got a face off in Montreal's zone. We score, right? And then, of course, Philadelphia has to win, and they pulled a goalie with 3 minutes left, and the Red Wings ended up losing to the Capitals on a weird tie break. Tough.
That was heartbreaking. I don't get my heart broken by hockey, but I did that time.
Yeah, that was rough.
That was rough.
They should have never been in that situation, which again is probably a topic for a future pod. That, like, I know everyone was like, this was the best week and a half and they were coming back. They should have never, ever been in a situation where it came down to that, because they literally choked when they had an 8-point cushion or 9-point cushion on the wild card because of us. Obviously, that we did that because we jinxed them, but horrible way to end the season. Tough.
Yep.
Only other thing I'll say on the Lions, we're about to jump into them, is they released their new uniforms this week. So for anyone not in Detroit, the NFL teams are kind of on a revolving schedule in terms of updating their uniforms. So the Lions released kind of 3 new uniforms. They have a new home, new away. Then they have their black alternative jersey is back, which is sick with a black line.
I love it.
It is dirty.
So awesome.
Give me more of it, man. I love the black jerseys.
It's so great. I love it. I was kind of bummed they got rid of like the old Lions logo. I like that last year they had running, like the, like the 2 stripes or whatever on the hat or on the sleeves, but that was a 90th anniversary thing. So my guess is maybe at the 100th they'll bring it back again, but they're keeping the lion, they're keeping the old school lion logo, the one that we're all used to. So came out with pretty decent fanfare. I'm not a huge like fashion person, but I think the jerseys are still sick. They're classy, which is what I wanted.
You got some fashion. Come on. It's like,
I'm trying to live up to you. Okay?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyways, that covers it on the line or any Detroit sports stuff. We just quickly wanted to cover this because we've honestly gotten a lot of good response in covering what was going on with women's basketball. So just wanted to cover here on the Caitlin Clark story, because this is just a national story. And I think it's really like starting to transcend women's basketball, and we'll see what happens. But Caitlin Clark finished up her season, 4 days later or something, they hold the WNBA draft. She gets taken first by the Indiana Fever. So really big news there. Like, we'll see if the fanfare can carry through. Like, to wrap up her college career, the NCAA women's finals game drew 24 million viewers at its peak. That's more than men's and the most watching an event since 2019. You cannot tell me Caitlin Clark is not a truly like just transcending player. And I'm really curious to see if we see that continue into the WNBA.
Yeah. I'll now that you say it, I actually didn't even watch much. I didn't watch any almost of the men's final, but I watched almost all of the women's final.
Yeah.
I mean, the men's final, I hate that they do this for all the finals too. Like, it starts at 9:30 on a Monday or whatever it is. It's like, dude, you lost me at that point.
Brutal.
Well, I will say that I'm on some Facebook algorithm of Caitlin Clark hate right now, because like every post that I see on Facebook is something about how like just discrediting her, and like about how others have done it like better than she has. They just haven't taken as many shots. They didn't have the 3-point line to benefit from. There's a lot of haters out there for her right now. And it's going to be interesting either way to see how she responds to that. I'm sure she knows of all the, the hate and the love that she's gotten. So she's in an interesting place coming into the season to prove herself. And there's going to be a lot of eyes either way. Yeah.
I mean, granted, some of the hate came from fellow CMU alumni, Antonio Brown.
Oh my God.
Some of that stuff. That guy is bananas, dude.
It was messed up.
He's
Dude, he hasn't
he's
been
on a different planet.
Yeah, that guy, I actually blocked him on all socials because I was like, I actually just like am annoyed with everything he keeps saying. But dude, about the Caitlin Clark stuff too, real quick, Wilson, like what I love about that is you want to know how you're a badass and how you're fucking good is when people start throwing hate at you. Like,
Yeah.
that's how you know you are good, because why are people hating on you? Because they're scared.
Yeah.
That's why.
Mm,
It's exactly why.
I hate this pod. Not gonna lie. Like I hate you guys.
Go ahead.
Because
you're
you're
so
scared?
good. Because you're all so good.
About to say that was a little delayed in getting that out. Wilson, I was about to
Jeez,
put that
yeah,
removed
wow.
from meeting,
Well,
and I
you
was
didn't
about to
pick
run
up
this
like
bad
that
boy.
was like a perfect segue, dude. That's like the joke is
No, I got you. I got you. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, like, Robbie, I mean, I feel like that you must have been scared of me when we used to work together because you always
Yes.
were hating on me. So,
That's right. That's right. I was. And look at you now. I got rid of you, and now you're back, and here we go.
and
You
I'm
know?
blossoming. I'm
That's right.
blossoming.
you're
Good for you.
blossoming. You're
This is
flourishing.
this is the new fun and employed Wilson.
Yes,
I love it.
exactly.
Wilson 2.0.
Yep, it's the best.
Thanks, guys.
Anyway, so Caitlin Clark, other highlight there. So a lot of news too. She's going to be making $75K a year for the WNBA, which is crazy. It just shows you how really not mainstream WNBA has
No,
been,
not at all.
and it's why they need a face like Caitlin Clark to hopefully honestly carry the three of us that probably have not watched a WNBA game in a very long time. Will it be a Tuesday night next year and the Indiana Fever's on? Are we going to watch the game if it's on ESPN? Like, that's what it's going to take for this league. I saw a lot of hate of like, why are the women not making enough? Like, at the end of the day, like, just to be super realistic, like, your viewership and the revenue you bring in is going to dictate what those payments are. Like, that's why the NFL and the NBA and all those, leagues have a high salary cap, is because of the viewership that they bring in. So the WNBA needs a Caitlin Clark. They need their LeBron James, right? That's what they need to bring people in. And I hope that happens, because that'll be huge for them. But she did sign an 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike. So
yeah, she's chilling.
All right.
She's chilling.
She's straight.
Yeah, she'll be good. She'll be good. Yeah.
She ain't she'll retire early, I'm sure. Imagine like that's the other thing I was thinking about the other day too. Like people at our age, like, pro athletes hanging them up, just like, hey, I'm done. I'm going to retire. And like, we got like 30 years of work left.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They'll be all right.
When you're old, and he's like, he's past his prime. He's younger than us. That sucks when that starts happening.
I've been going through the NBA box scores and these playoffs and looking at and see if there's anybody on the teams that are older than me. And usually there's like one guy on the team, and it's a very sad thought.
It's like, I'm like Nicholas Batum right now.
Yeah. Right. That's so it. There's Steve. He's at the end of his prime. Only a year or two left.
But Batum, had a good game. Like that's, you got to be that kind of guy, a seasoned vet, step up to the plate when you need to,
He's wetting it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, is that your sports rundown, Robbie?
That's it.
It's good.
That's it on kind of Detroit and then a little bit of WNBA stuff. Yeah, that's it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Did you have any headlines for us this week, or are we just going to talk through some of the headlines of like overall of the draft?
Yeah, I think we maybe talk through
the
headlines of the draft, because I think what we want to do here too is we're going to start a bit more national focused for the first, I'd say, like segment of this section of the pod, and then we'll finish off with more Detroit specific focused, just because we want to make sure we kind of touch on both. The NBA draft NFL draft's big enough. Obviously, there's so many storylines that I care about that are going to influence the Lions pick, right? If you get 7 quarterbacks that go before the Lions, that only helps us. So yeah, there's a lot of headlines, but I do have some kind of storylines we can maybe talk around, and that'll maybe guide the conversation and then maybe we'll intro kind of the mock that we're going to do here shortly. So yeah, maybe we'll start with some of my like biggest headlines heading into the draft.
Okay, sick. Let's hear them.
Okay. And this can be kind of an open question. We're not maybe going to do the same type of format, but first and foremost, is Caleb Williams going to be the number 1 pick? This is a yes or no answer. I think yes. Where there's smoke, there's fire here. I think just based on what we've seen, I think in the news, it feels like he's just the guy. He's got everything that the Bears may want, but there's always a chance. Crazy things happen on the draft night. But what do you guys think? You think Caleb's number 1 without a doubt?
I think so. I think he's number 1. I mean, I'm weird about it because I don't think he's that great. I watched USC games this year and was not super impressed. I mean, I get that the talent's there and you're only as good as the team around you and all that stuff, but
yeah, his team was horrible this year. They were horrible.
Yeah, and he was coming from behind a lot, and I get it, but like he's going to be the number one pick. I don't see the Bears trading Justin Fields and not getting a quarterback, let alone the top quarterback on the board when you have the number one overall pick. So, I mean, it would have to be something crazy happen for him not to be number one pick, but I think he's going.
Yeah, I think like the Bears would have to like trade that pick or something for him to not be the number one pick. So I'd be very surprised if he doesn't go number one. I do also think that out of the quarterbacks in this draft, he's clearly got the highest ceiling. He's just got that athletic ability to do a lot of things that Drake May can't do, that JJ McCarthy's not going to be able to do, no matter what, that you can't teach them, and that they're not going to develop that same athleticism that he has. So I think he's just got the highest ceiling. The Bears need a quarterback. He should be the number one pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that you always kind of know with the first number one pick, unless there's going to be a trade out, which I don't think will be happening. We tend to know a couple weeks ahead. That's normally how it works. Maybe other than maybe the Aiden Hutchinson's year, right? That was maybe the only year where it was like really coming down to the day before of like, who are they going to take? I think this is just NFL drama, trying to keep it going, make people think they may take somebody else, but I'm with you guys. Yeah, I think Caleb's probably going to be the first pick here. Yep. Other kind of like headlines. Actually, you know what I want to do here? I'll keep the headlines going. I have a little quarterback comparison I want to run you guys through of like this player A or player B, and we're going to run through some comparisons of who is player A and who is player B, and I just want to see kind of who you guys would take because
it's interesting.
I love it.
Yeah. Wide receiver has been a really big topic of conversation for this draft. There's really three main wide receivers that are on the board this year. Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State, who I think we all, especially Big Ten country here, we saw a lot of him this year. Number two is Rome Odunze. We saw him, and obviously in the national championship game from Washington with Michael Penix, who's great. And then you have Malik Neighbors from LSU, who is also a stud. Those are the three wide receivers that are taken. You guys, you got to pick one. Like, how would you order those three receivers if you had to do it? So Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, and Malik Neighbors.
You want to take it, Steve?
Go ahead.
Well, I think almost the order that you said them in. I'd flip-flop the second and third. I don't know that it's pretty close either way. Marvin Harrison, I think, is going to stand out on the crowd, but then I think that Neighbors has a ability that not a lot of people have to be like a specialist in the slot, and he can also go on the outside. So I think he can do a little bit more. And so I would put him at 2.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Marvin Harrison, I think, is clearly the number one on that list. After that, you're kind of splitting hairs. Wide receivers now are just such huge weapons, and they're so versatile and they're so dangerous in the game. And you see these guys coming up like Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4th round pick. Like these guys can be dangerous coming out of anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter where they're drafted, no matter what school they come out of. So, I mean, really, Harrison's a freak. And after that, I mean, it's all basically you're taking the same risk across the board.
Okay. I would agree with that. Yeah, I think they're honestly a toss-up. A lot of this to me is what's your scheme, what's your fit.
Yep.
Like if you already have an X receiver, that may impact what you take here. Like maybe you want more of a Neighbors in this case, right? Or you want someone that can play a little bit more slot versus being that X on the outside. Lions fan here would love an X, but you know what I mean? Like that's just kind of what we're talking about here. I guess in general on the draft too, we'll kind of end the kind of headline section in this. There's a lot of talk, and the Lions got a lot of heat for this last year. Like the NFL has changed so much in the way that teams view certain positional players and positional value. So you look at position like linebacker, right? I think Jack Campbell was taken last year in the 1st round. The next linebacker wasn't taken until the 3rd round last year. You look at a position like safety, even running back outside of Gibbs last year, and then what's his face for the Falcons, Bijan. Like, do you guys feel like, are you a believer in the positional value in the draft? I guess is the best way that I'll phrase it.
I guess it depends who's picking, right? But I mean, I think there's a handful of positions that have an immense amount of value over others, right? So I believe that you're in the trenches. Your linemen are going to be immensely valuable. Obviously, your quarterback's going to be immensely valuable. Other than that, I think it just kind of depends on, like you mentioned, what scheme you're running, where your holes are, and what kind of fits the best. Sorry, I'm also half not paying attention because there's a 1,037 page PFF mock draft booklet in front of me that I'm just kind of making notes in my little notebook here too.
I
Nice,
love that.
nice. Way to prep.
Yeah, I'll just be clear. I'm just gonna be transparent with you guys.
Yeah,
right?
way to prep before the pod. That's
Yeah.
great. So Wilson, so you and I
yeah.
live on a pod. Why don't you and I have a conversation while
Okay.
Steve finishes his homework
That's
here?
what we
Yeah,
normally
appreciate it.
do
Thanks.
anyways.
Yeah, thanks,
For
guys.
sure.
Appreciate
But-
it. Listen, all right, sorry I didn't work for Tom Izzo like Billy.
Yeah,
Sorry,
true.
sorry I'm not your
True.
dad.
That's
Sorry I'm not your dad.
But
also true.
to your question, Robbie, I think that there are some positions that clearly just have more value. Like obviously a QB, like you're choosing the leader of your team. You're choosing somebody who's going to impact every play on offense. You know, that there's obviously going to be some more intrinsic value in that, choosing somebody in that position than choosing a safety. Although it really just depends on, you know, like Steve said, what's your hole? Like there's the value could be different for each team. And it certainly is. Like every year, like to your point, where you might not have the same position taken for 2 rounds later. Not to say that that person that's taken 2 rounds later is that much of a drop off from that first person taken in the, you know, in the first round at that position.
Right.
It's just the crazy way that the NFL is versus other sports where it's so position specific. Yeah, you can see like that crazy multi-round difference just based on what teams need. Like it really could screw over a player if no teams need your position that year.
Right.
And you can drop to the 3rd round.
Which you look at a position, like I said, linebacker and safety are 2-1. Specifically, you see it in NFL free agency too. Both of those positions are extremely underappreciated, I guess I should say, or undervalued by teams. I think that's where, even though wide receivers can be, you know, like you can find them anywhere, they're still taken high in the draft. It's because when you get a, you know, Jamar Chase, right? When you get a just like a stud wide receiver, right? Like Justin Jefferson, like that changes your entire.
They will win you some games.
Right.
Yeah,
Whereas
sure.
like, is your linebacker, you know, going to win you games? Like certainly yes, but just those flash plays, I think is like where you start to see that. So it's just really interesting because the Lions too, like last year they got a lot of flack, right? I was one of them. I was definitely one of them in that first round. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You took a running back and a linebacker in the first round? Are you what?
Yeah.
Like no way we can do that. And look, I was so wrong.
It was tough.
So wrong.
It was tough getting you through that one.
Yeah, that was tough. I
assumed you'd be over it almost an entire draft later, but
I am.
We'll get you through.
No, I'm over it. I'm acknowledging that was my B, but that's what I love about the draft. Is like these GMs they're putting their neck on the line here. Wilson, I think you just said that. Like, it's the NFL draft. There are 7 rounds to go through. This isn't the NBA draft where there's 2 rounds.
Yeah,
and the talent up top, you start to get to the end of the second round. Like there's a clear difference. NFL is like you could find all pros in every single one of these rounds, which just means like your second round pick could be just as valuable as your 6th round pick at the end of the day, which is crazy.
It is crazy, but it's so true. There's examples I can't think of at the top of my head, but I'm sure there's tons of examples out there like that on pretty much every team.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna run through this quarterback thing because I think it'll be fun, and then we can jump into the mock. So what I did is I kind of took a look at some quarterbacks in this draft versus current quarterbacks in the NFL. But I want to compare some stats with you guys, and you can tell me player A or player B based on the stats here. Yeah.
Wait, of who we would prefer to have. Okay.
Correct. Yep. So
that's nasty, and I like it.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So first, we will start with player A, and I'm gonna do player A, player B, and then we'll pause for a second. So player A, okay. 12 games played. 74% completion percentage, just under 3,700 yards, 33 touchdowns, 3 picks. Overall passer rating 196.4. That's QB number 1. Okay.
I think I know who that is too, by the way.
Okay. QB number 2. 15 games played. Just under 3,000 yards. 22 touchdowns, 4 picks, rating of 167.5. Pick your player.
Ugh.
This is a pod, so you got to talk.
Yeah,
That's
no.
how this goes.
I mean, I'm gonna say player B. I mean, are these? Let me question. These are the college stats, right?
Correct. College
15 games played. You went a little further. Your team, you had more meaningful games. You played. You had more impact on your team winning. I believe, right? That's really the only big difference is playing more games. I'll take player B.
Okay.
And I was actually leaning player A because of the 33 touchdowns, 3 picks. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good stat. A
Yeah.
lot of touchdowns, not a lot of picks. And
Right.
I mean, to me, I'm going to take the person that's able to find the guy in the end zone and doesn't turn the ball over.
Okay. Yeah. Can we guess who these quarterbacks are?
I have a guess on B. Is it JJ McCarthy?
It is JJ McCarthy.
Yeah,
so Wilson did not pick JJ McCarthy, which I fucking love.
Yeah.
Do we know who player A is?
Is it Drake May?
It is not Drake May.
It's not Caleb Williams.
It's not Caleb Williams, no.
It is that Bo Nix?
No, think Jets.
Oh. It's Zach Wilson?
It is Zach Wilson.
Wow.
Oh, I see what you did. Okay.
So
got it.
The reason I wanted to use Zach Wilson as a comparison, because I think this just shows you, if you look at just like stats in college, like I said, this is just his senior year, right? 3,700 yards, 33 touchdowns, 3 picks, a rating of 196.5. Versus you look at someone like JJ, 3,000 yards, 22 touchdowns, only 4 picks, a rating of 167.5. Does anyone want to pick Zach Wilson right now to be their starting quarterback in the NFL? Hell no. There's no way. And so I just think it shows you how hard it is to compare. But like when you just look at these high level stats, like Steve, to your point, if you kind of knew that was JJ, as soon as I said games played, obviously you knew that was 15. But like that's just like, you can see the team around you does matter. It's also like, what have you been asked to do? Like Zach Wilson was slinging it at BYU. Dude was just like throwing it all over the place. And I purposely picked JJ because I think there's been a lot of comparison potentially between the two. Like, remember Zach Wilson in his pro day was like launching like 80-yard
I love
bombs,
Zach Wilson
like
too.
turn the other way. And JJ had like an absolutely crazy pro day, right? Like tested off the charts with everything he has going on. I think those two players are very similar just in the like their overall hype, with Wilson having a bit more stats coming out of college. But anyway, so yeah, that's just kind of a fun comparison to look at, like player A versus player B.
It just goes to show that stats aren't everything, and they've got to fit within the scheme, and they've got to have the ability, like the NFL like IQ, to be able to just adapt and play the new style.
Right, because that's also the way that like you have to be able to adjust, because the game's different now than it was even when he was playing, right? Like when Zach Wilson was playing.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that was a little bit of a setup too, by the way, comparing JJ Wilson to Zach or JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, it's because
I saw right through it.
Here, I know I did not see right through it. I'm a bit pissed right now, but that's okay. I'm gonna
be
okay.
You can deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna deal with it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you can deal with it.
I feel like that was a little bit of a setup that I fell right into the trap.
But you still took JJ though. You did the right thing. I took Zach Wilson.
Yeah, right. It was like I don't know. I didn't like door number 1 for a reason, and I went door number 2 because I thought it was my guy. But yeah, setup. That's fine.
The reason I did that too is I feel like I've read some articles that just talk about JJ McCarthy versus Zach Wilson. Just like, is JJ showing early signs of maybe being a Zach Wilson with the way that he can play? But I think we'll see, because of the fact that JJ hasn't been asked, he wasn't asked to do a lot in college. He did everything he was freaking asked to do. He had a high completion percentage. Like, dude did everything he was asked to do. So, like, is that untapped potential that's sitting there, right? Like, that's a really big question going into this draft.
Yeah.
So,
and that's right. That's where I think JJ has the hype around him a little bit right now. I mean, obviously, he's like the fourth quarterback off the board. I mean, maybe he's third, but I don't think he's going to be a top two, right? There's two guys ahead of him, at least, probably three. And I think that he just has, like, he did, like you said, Robbie, he did everything he was asked to do. He did it well. He was he operated a little bit with his wings clipped, I think. Right. But like, the talent is clearly there. I think he's got a big arm. I think he's got the NFL arm, right? The size, all that, like the tangible on paper stuff is all there, and he's a national champion. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that he's getting a lot of hype. And I do wonder too, like, if they had another season where they, failed to make it past the first round of the playoff, I wonder if the hype wouldn't be as high. So
that's a great point. Because I think it would completely change it.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. So I think when you take that and combine it with the pro days and the combine numbers and all this other great stuff, that we all kind of knew JJ had and like, I remember as a Michigan fan too, like sitting there, like, why aren't you just letting him sling it down the field? Right. Use that big arm, but, I think it's all there. And I think that's why he's climbing up boards. We'll see where he goes. Is like, I've seen him go as high as 4. I've seen him go as low as like 19 or something like that. So it's going to be interesting in a week or so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Okay, one more of these, and we can jump into the mock stuff. Okay, so we will go player A. I'm taking out the games played because that's going to give it away. So I'm going to correct myself here. So player A, 69% completion percentage.
Nice.
Sick percentage.
Yep, great percentage.
We are 8 years old.
It's actually 68.6. I had to round up, obviously. So 68.6 percentage completion percentage, 3,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, 5 picks. Overall rating of 170. That's player A. Player B, 66% completion percentage, 3,700 yards. So comparable on the overall yards. 41 touchdowns, 6 picks. Passer rating of 177.7.
Damn.
Player A or player B?
Are these touchdowns just in the air?
Yes.
Damn. Good question. Good follow-up question.
Thank you.
Yep. These are just passing touchdowns. Yeah. These are all passing stats. And if you have a guess on who either player is, I will tell you one is from this current draft, one is from a previous draft.
I honestly have no idea. I'm going to go player B.
I'm going to go player B as well, and I'm going to guess that is Williams.
Okay, so player A is Caleb Williams.
Oh.
Ooh.
Player B is CJ Stroud.
Oh, okay.
41 tutties for CJ Stroud.
Yeah, wow. CJ had a good year.
Right. So
he turned out to be, so far, he's looking like he's going to be a good pro.
Right. Like, Stroud has been, like, he's talking about going for it next year. Like, they are lining up to really make a push for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, Williams, if you look at Williams too, like, in the 2022, he had 42 touchdowns and 5 picks. Last year, he had 30 touchdowns and 5 picks. So it's kind of crazy when you look at that. Like, he had some drop off. His team was not as great, but like his stats overall in college.
Yeah.
With his time in Oklahoma too. Like 93 touchdowns and 14 interceptions for an overall passer rating of 170 with the way he can move on the ground too. Like, that's impressive.
Yeah. I wonder if he had more on the ground touchdowns this last year than the year before, because he lost 12 through the air. I wonder if he picked up any on the ground.
He had 11 rushing touchdowns this year, and he had 10 the year before.
Oh, so very much the same. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He rushed for almost 1,000 yards in college total. So
it's crazy.
Yeah. Anyways, just shows you these quarterbacks, just like how like, I don't know, just how like based on where you play, like we said, based on what you're asked to do, just how much difference there can be. So anyways, just kind of a fun A to B comparison. I didn't want to compare quarterbacks currently in the draft because we're about to talk to them.
That's tough.
So, and I had to get JJ
McCarthy. Play him twice a year.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Can't wait. Gonna be great.
That was fun.
Well,
I like that.
we do great against mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure. Hey,
Yeah.
NFC Championship game, up 17, 30 minutes to go.
All right, let's.
Yeah.
We're having fun here, dude. Let's
Yeah,
not
right.
get
True.
live.
True. Do we want to talk? So we're gonna do a little mock draft here with our friends over at PFF. Shout out Steve for getting that PFF membership here. But
Raise up.
yeah. So I think we're gonna run a little bit of a mock here. We're gonna talk through collectively the first 10 picks because we just want to kind of go through the quarterbacks and receivers, and then we'll spend kind of the second half of this talking around Lions, who we think they should pick, what do we think their strategy is going to be, et cetera.
Yeah.
So Steve's going to run point here. So for those that are listening here, which is going to be all of you, we are currently have the PFF mock draft up, the draft simulator here. So we're just going to kind of run through these first 10 picks.
And little plug for our YouTube channel. If you want to watch this and see and follow along with the mock draft, you can go and follow us at Take the Point Show on YouTube.
There we go.
So Steve, start us off. The Bears.
Yep.
The Bears.
Before I start, what I'm seeing here too, that's a little bit interesting that I guess I didn't really put together because, we're looking at the Bears with picks 1 and 9, and they got 1, 9, 75, 122, and that's it for this draft. So they got 4 picks this draft, which I didn't really realize that they basically punted their whole back half of the draft, right? So they're like going to show up for like day 2 and then peace out.
Wow.
But, yeah, interesting. So like we talked about, I don't even know if we were recording at this point, but like, what would you do, if there's a really good offer at number 1 for Caleb Williams, like, and you get, 3 or 4 more picks, that might be worth it. So at any rate, something to think about as we start our draft. Pause. So the number 1 pick, of course, was Caleb Williams. We don't know if this is all PFF, so we don't know if there are trade conversations or what, but I mean, I'll let you guys kind of chime in and see if you were surprised at all at what the algorithm, the AI kind of put together here.
Nope. Easy pick at 1.
What do we think is going to happen here for the Commanders?
I think they're going quarterback.
Yeah.
Is my guess.
I'm guessing it's Drake May.
Yeah, I think it's going to be May. I'm more of a Jaden Daniels fan myself.
Same.
I think there's a little bit more there with him. I just like his game overall a little bit better. I think he's a better mobile quarterback. I think he offers a little bit through the air and also on the ground.
Nah, he's going to go 3 to the Patriots.
Right. So
I agree.
We're definitely confident 1, 2, 3 is going to be a quarterback. 1, 2, 3. It just depends on which quarterback is going to go. I also don't necessarily see any teams trading up here. The only pick that I think it's a little weird is New England. Now, Belichick's gone. If this was a Belichick year he was picking, I think things would maybe go a little bit quirky. But with like Jared Mayo there, right, who's their head coach now, I think they're going to play this safe. Like they need a quarterback, clearly. Yep. But yeah, I'll say Washington will most likely go Drake May just because that's what the mocks look like. And honestly, again, on these first 3-4 quarterbacks, I think they're all very, very similar. So I don't think there's like a major difference that like at least me, Mr. Non-Scout, can see. I think a lot of it's just hype, and I think it's just going to be like, what's your system? I would not want to go to Washington. Shout out Ben Johnson. Thanks for not leaving either.
Yeah, I don't blame them for that either. I'm also interested. Look how many picks they got. They got 6 of the top 100 picks. So again, whoever they're getting, if it's Daniels, if it's Drake May, I think they're going to load up around him. So it's going to be an awesome year if you're a Washington Commanders fan. Hopefully, but I'm sure if you're a Washington Commanders fan, you're probably cursing me right now for saying that because you haven't had a lot of great years, but we feel you. We're Lions.
And if you're a Washington Commanders fan, I mean, thanks for listening to our pod. Where'd you come from? I love it.
Yeah.
Hell
yeah. All right, Steve, let it rip. So we
hashtag Washington.
We're all.
Jaden Daniels.
I was wrong. They went Daniels.
I like that.
I love that.
Cool.
Okay. See, this is where it gets interesting for New England. This is where I think you could see a trade. Like if someone really, really, really like Drake May, the teams I'm looking at here is definitely the Giants at 6. Do they think that they want to move up here? Like I think they're a large potential to do that.
Yep.
The question is, with Arizona picking next at 4, they have Murray. They've recommitted to him, right? He's got that massive contract. They're not going to draft a quarterback here, but would New England? I mean, they got pick 3, 34, 68. So that they do have a ton of picks in this draft. But if Giants come in, all you got to do is go down to pick 6. You got to look at that and say Cardinals probably are not taking a quarterback. The Chargers are not taking a quarterback. That would put New England back at pick 6, ready to maybe you take JJ there.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, there's a lot of teams who do need a quarterback that are just coming up like a few picks back, but they're not there yet. So, yeah, you could slide back to 6 because, I mean, Minnesota needs one, Denver needs one, but they're back there at like what, picks 11 and 12 or something like that.
Yeah, Minnesota's a big one to see what they're going to do because they did a pre-draft trade, right, to get another first-round pick, which odds are that they're saying they could package those together and move up. I don't know if that'd be enough to get to 3. My guess is you got to give up both those picks and probably maybe a first or second next year to get up to pick number 3 with New England. So,
which is a lot to give because if you look back, I always find this so interesting with both NFL and NBA draft. If you look back at like the top quarterbacks taken in previous years, it's so crazy to see how many of them are taken early that just don't pan out.
Yeah.
Like after that first like quarterback or 2, like that get taken, you get down to quarterbacks 3, 4, 5 that get taken. Most of the time, almost all the time, they're not panning out.
Yep.
It also shows you how important the quarterback position is. You have GMs that are putting their like job on the line, their livelihood on the line.
Yeah.
Like New England, right? Like they're going to put their livelihood on the line to say, I'm going to take Drake May here. Like you better have a good rate on him, but it shows you if you do not have a quarterback though, you have nothing. Like look at the Vikings this year. They do not have a quarterback. Like they do not have a starting quarterback. They will trade anything they possibly can to at least have a chance at a good one, you know?
Yeah. So, or if you don't pick the quarterback too, I think there's even more on the line, right? And I think
you're calling your shot there.
And I think like you mentioned too, with new head coach, like new era in New England, right? Like Belichick's gone for the first time in God knows how many long years. This is in my opinion, the perfect opportunity to trade back. Because you can say, hey, we're going to get more capital. We're going to do it the right way. We're going to build through the trenches, right? Whatever, the mentality is, the vision is over there. Because right now, someone's just got to get ahead of New York. And I think, like you mentioned, like the Cardinals, the Chargers, they're not picking a quarterback. So they just got to get ahead of New York if they want their guy. There's going to be an offer here. It's just a matter of whether or not they take it. So let's see what the Patriots get or do. Marvin.
That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
No way they're taking Harrison. No way.
Well, all right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
So far, we have Caleb Williams when as planned. Jaden Daniels to the Commanders as maybe not planned, but more likely. I mean, this feels like a Bill Belichick type pick if he was still there,
right?
Because this is you do not have a quarterback on your team. I was slotting in number 4 to be Marvin Harrison Jr. It was an easy pick for us. I feel like for the Cardinals, you give Kyler Murray some ammo here. If I'm the Cardinals here, I'm trading out of this pick. I'm not.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If your guy's gone,
like Drake May is like there's just no way. Now they ended up drafting Joe Alt, which is
okay.
Joe Alt's going to be the first tackle off the board. So I'm not surprised they're doing this. Murray coming off of an injury, their O-line has been absolutely horrible. They've been not able to protect him at all. I actually liked maybe the Bears at 9. I thought if Alt could have got there, it would have been a really nice pick because now you get your quarterback and you get an offensive lineman, but. Safe pick for Arizona. My guess is if Harrison's there, that's where they go versus offensive line because they need some help for Kyler.
Yeah, I think real life, that's where Harrison goes. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Quarterback at 3, and I think Harrison goes at 4. Joe Alt, though, that's a good pick. You get a tackle, like the number 1 tackle off the board. That's a guy that stays in your system for, a decade, right? That's a building block, right?
He was great. He was great at Notre Dame. He had a great career there. He was great this year. Like just played absolutely awesome. Like he pretty much locked down that line. They had a real solid line this year. And so, I think it's a good pick. So how about the Chargers here? The funny thing is I thought Alt was going to the Chargers, which is just everything here is getting all screwed up.
If I'm the Chargers, if this is the reality, I'm considering trading this pick too.
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
My guess is I could see them going receiver here. Would be my guess.
Yep.
Neighbors.
Neighbors.
Neighbors. Yeah. Just because Keenan Allen gone this offseason, right? Traded to the Bears. They were in salary cap hell. Like, you have an absolutely stud franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert, at least we think, right?
Yeah.
Harbaugh
New
coming into
coach.
town, right? Like, I just think Neighbors is a great pick.
And if this next pick by New York is not Drake May, or I mean, I guess you could put JJ McCarthy, then this thing is high.
Yeah, we might have to start over if that's the case.
This has got to be Drake May for the.
Which we could what we could have done is pick the top 10 teams and selected for them of what we think. And
this thing is supposed to be like an AI smart simulator, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Supposed to be. Thanks to our friends at Pro Football Focus.
I say Drake May. I
think so too. There it is. Okay, I got it.
Yep, Drake May. Okay, cool. Yeah, which is crazy because they just gave a whole bunch of money to what's his nuts over there that I can't Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Right. They just give a whole bunch of money to him too.
I mean, it was a shorter term deal. It was only 3 years, so he's only got 2 years left on it. So
it's right.
And
it's the NFL. We know this money is not real. Like,
you got it. If you have a chance, you got a chance at your quarterback, you take it. That's what we've learned, right? You got a chance, you take it no matter what. So
okay.
How about the Titans?
I think they go receiver here. They got
Dunze?
They go Dunze.
Dunze.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Ooh, tackle. Yep. Bashanu. I mean, again, if you believe in Will Levis, that's your guy. You got to protect him. Tackle makes sense here. This is, you know, again, a cornerstone of your offensive line for the next 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Right.
See the Falcons. I think the Falcons go Cooper DeJean here.
Nope, I think it's Mitchell. I think it's Mitchell, cornerback.
Dallas.
We're both wrong.
That's a good pick.
It's a great pick. He is projected to be the top defender most likely off the board, I'd say. Right? I'd say what?
So far he is.
I mean, Mitchell's probably up there too. Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo is probably the other one that's slated to go top. And then maybe Byron Mitchell, the DT from Texas, is also slated to go high up. It's probably down to those three. There's not a standout defensive player like we've seen in past years that just is like going to skyrocket to the top, which is why this draft is more QB wide receiver top heavy, which is why I think when you start to get like, you're going to get great value in these lower picks. Like, that's what I actually like for the Lions too, because I want as many quarterbacks and offensive linemen to go early and wide receivers, because that's just pushing other areas of talent farther and farther down the draft, which is what we want when you're picking at the end of the first round.
Yeah.
All right. Chicago Bears back on the clock with their second pick of the first round at number 9.
I want to say maybe offensive line, but
they
did they go with Dunze? Oh, God, that sucks for us. Great pick for them. Great pick.
Really good. That's a good pick.
Now, they don't have an offensive line, just to be very clear. Their offensive line was horrible last year, but Bears were good to end the year last year.
Yeah.
Stud defense.
They're tough.
They were great. Like, with a quarterback that wasn't throwing the ball at all either. Like, kudos to you.
Yeah, I wonder if one of the top two, these two tackles that were mocked in here in the top 7 are available at 9. They changed their tune a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of going off what we talked about, receiver being something that's available, round 2, round 3, all over the board here. Wilson, I see you leaning it. Do you want me to zoom this in for you a little bit?
No, you're good.
I'm going to do it for you.
Guys, I have a pick that I love next for the Jets.
Ooh.
Aaron Rodgers. You're going. You're going all out this year. You need a weapon. I would say you go with none other than Brock Bowers.
Ooh, that would be a good pick.
Well, they took J.C. Latham as a tackle.
Yeah.
Also solid. Steve, thank you also for clicking through while I was saying what I would do, but that's great. Thanks for doing that there, buddy.
No, I'm sorry. I was
a little gun happy there.
You get a little long-winded, sometimes, and
no, I get it. You have
there's
I'm not one to talk.
Yeah, you have a little trouble lasting that long. I get it. I understand.
If the top 10 goes like that, I would be stunned.
I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
I would be stunned. Like that would be some big surprises in there. I mean, it's not impossible, but man, if you've got where did Drake May go?
He went to New York at 6.
It's a great pick for them. They stayed at 6. It got May. Damn.
Yeah.
Man, if that happens, then we're so lucky.
Yeah.
Steve, is JJ going 11?
He's going 11.
He's got to go
He's
11, right?
He's got to.
Well, like you said, I mean, the Vikings have 11 and 23. They made a move to get multiple first-round picks to get their quarterback. They don't have a quarterback right now, like you
What
said.
a downgrade that would be, though, from Spartan Dog Kirk Cousins to JJ.
Nah, listen, okay, let's just not. Don't set me up for another trap here today, like Robbie did earlier.
No, there's no trap. Listen,
Yeah.
I want to be very clear. If I was an NFL GM, you tell me what JJ McCarthy has that you would not want. He can easily fall back and be like, he did what he was asked to in college. Dude is mobile. His teammates fucking loved him, right? He's got an absolute cannon as an arm, super high percentage on his passes. That's how he was in college. He just wasn't asked to do a lot. That's not what the offense asked of him. So, what is NFL all predicated on? It's all on potential. That's what guys are drafted. Look at Trey Lance a couple of years ago, right? Dude played one game to start the year and then sat the rest of the time and got drafted number 3 overall. If you're taking that guy, JJ is easy to take because of that reason.
That's a good point.
Yeah, JJ got that swag,
Yeah, he does. I hope they put the meditation things in at the stadium. It'll be great. He can sit there and So, anyways, I say JJ here.
Yeah, I think JJ. Imagine if, and let's make this will be the last one we go with,
then we'll go Lions.
Then we'll jump to the Lions,
But imagine going acquiring another first round pick, thinking you have to trade up, and if the draft falls together this way, where you can't put a deal together, and then a guy like the number 2 quarterback on your board, or 3 quarterback on your board, however you had it laid out, falls into your lap here at 11, and you have another first round pick. That's really solid.
That's huge. I don't think I'd have the stomach to stick through it. I bet I'd take a pick, but
they took him.
Yeah, they took him.
All right, it's going to get to us. Then we're going to pause. So we'll go through and just kind of
pause.
Starting at 11, let's see where we went. So JJ, Jared Verse at 13 to the Raiders.
Solid pick for them.
I love Jared Verse.
Yeah, I also love Verse. Brock Bowers, stud.
Man, Arnold is somebody who, if he could have somehow gone to the Lions, he's not going to fall that far, but that would be an amazing pick for us.
Yep. Brian Thomas, Byron Mitchell, who I thought was going to go, or
Byron Murphy.
Byron Murphy,
Yep.
Latu, my favorite name in the draft.
I love that.
Another edge rusher.
Love that.
At 19 to the Rams, that would have been awesome.
Cooper DeJean, that's another guy that I know we're not going to take a corner in the first round, but that's
dude. I love DeJean. He's on my list. If we talk a little bit about the Lions here, what we think they're going to do, you want to talk about a Lions guy, Cooper DeJean.
Absolutely.
They love drafting guys from Iowa. They do.
Yeah.
Right. I think he's very versatile, and he fits a position of need for them. And these NFL kickoff rules next year are going to change everything for us. The fact that the game's going to be a little bit different than what it has been in the past with the kickoff rules. DeJean would be a perfect fit for the Lions. I just don't think he's going to be there.
No, he's not.
Yeah. What do you guys think overall? Before we pick here for the Lions, Brad Holmes talked a little bit last week. He's staying at 29. You trust him to go up at 29 if he sees this guy, knowing we do have limited early capital this year, right? We have a first, second, third round pick. We do not have a fourth. It was part of the Hawkinson deal. We traded our second, third round pick to get Carlton Davis from Tampa Bay. So Holmes has traded up and traded back. So dude likes to move in the draft. Where are you guys at? Are you hey, I trust him, go get his guy? Or are you, hey, stay at 29? Or are you, hey, let's pick up some extra draft capital and move back?
I don't know what do you think Brad Holmes is doing at this very second right now? He's probably working the phones, right? He's probably working something out, or laying it all on the table. I don't really. If he jumps up and gets his guy, I'm cool with it. If he trades back, I'm cool with it. If he picks at 29, I'm cool with it. He's kind of earned his keep there, so to speak, as a GM. Where dude, you got carte blanche. You can do whatever you want at this pick.
Let Brad cook. That's Steve's version. Let Brad cook.
Let Brad cook. The only thing at pick 29 compared to last year, what did we pick last year? It was it was 6.
Yep.
Right.
We traded
and
back to 12.
12.
Yeah.
You're in a different tier of player, I think, right? You can get one of the top 2 players at any position in the top 12 picks. At 29, I don't think there's a big drop off between pick 29 and trading back to, say, pick 40, right? That's 11 picks back. I don't think you're going to get a huge drop off in what you can get in terms of the type of impact a player you draft in anywhere from 29 to 40, the type of impact that player is going to make. You know what I mean? So I love trading back here, but if Brad's guy's here and he takes him at 29, I'm fine with it too.
I kind of think he's going to stay here, or go back. I'd be shocked if he jumps up, and if he does jump up, maybe it's like there's a very specific situation where we know we need to move up like a couple spots in order to get our guy, and it makes a little deal to move up a couple spots. But I don't see him like jumping up into the top 15 or something like that.
No.
I think the Lions are not picking at pick 29. I think they're either he's going up or he's trading back.
How far up do you think he'll go?
I mean, with our capital that we have, I feel like you're probably looking at like a 16 to 20 range if he wanted to move up, which at that point you're giving up probably your first round pick. Dane Brugler did a mock too, where it was like the Lions gave up, I think, their first and their third maybe to move up. So like you're like, this is all on like the pick total or whatever it is, right? Like how much value there is in the picks. Like it's going to cost you to move up.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
I just, Steve, I'm kind of with you in the sense of, I feel like if you're picking at 29, you can pick at 37 and you're probably going to get the same player unless this draft just goes absolutely bananas. We know that Lions have a huge cornerback need. Of their top 30 visits that they had this year, they brought in like 13 cornerbacks came in. That's almost half of their visits. So I think they are looking at corner, but Brad Holmes is a corner, guru. Like he's drafted guys late rounds that have been absolute studs.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Do you think that they would take a corner in the first round?
I think they would if they
guy.
see their guy. Like Kool-Aid, I just, for some reason, he just doesn't strike me as a Holmes guy. Like I feel like they talk to Mitchell. They're really going to have to move up to get Mitchell. Like I just don't think that's going to happen. But if Holmes sees his guy, he's not afraid to pull the trigger, which is what I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
And I got a theory. Oh, I don't know what's going on outside my room here. I got a theory in terms of cornerbacks in general. I mean, 29 is a little bit different to take a first round corner, but when you look at like the top 50 rated players, rated cornerbacks, like 5 of them were first round picks, right? Cornerbacks are a really tough position to translate from or to transition from college to pro. I'm not a student enough of the game to really give you guys a good reason why, but just from what I've seen, I remember vividly watching drafts where it was, D. Milner from Alabama was like a top 5 cornerback pick. And like, where is that dude now? And we ended up picking Darius Slay in the second round. And Darius Slay is a solid cornerback and he's had a long career. So, I mean, even a couple years ago, Jeff Okudah, I know it was a different regime, but first round cornerbacks are tough. I have a really hard time with first round cornerbacks, especially this year where about 4 of them have gone already between Wiggins, DeJean, Mitchell, and Terrion Arnold. It's gonna be hard, I think, taking a cornerback here for me at 29 when I think statistically you have a better shot of getting an impact cornerback further down the road, right? It may take 2 or 3 years to get him there in the second, third, fourth round. So I'm going to
vote. I say we trade out of this bad boy.
I say trade out.
Can we like see, Steve, what the offers are here?
This is Pro Football Focus, man. What do you think?
Let's trade down. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got to trade down here.
Yeah. I really like Washington as a trade partner because they have pick 36, pick 40, pick like 58, or they have a ton of picks. I don't know if they would move back. But the way this works, there's 5 teams interested: the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Eagles, the Bucks, and the Bills. The next picks respectively are 35, 44, 50, 57, and 60. Excuse me.
If we can pick up a second and third, I'm moving back. I don't really care what team it is. Just give me a second and third, because that's why they're coming up. Like, teams are going to come up because Knicks and Penix are still there. Penix is going to be the guy that some team that didn't get a quarterback is going to want to get. So, Steve, I don't know who you read off there, but like, Arizona doesn't need a quarterback. Buffalo doesn't need a quarterback.
The Raiders
need a quarterback. That could be where are they picking?
44. So you're going back 15 spots.
Would they do 44 and 77?
I think they would. I think they would 44 and 77 for 29. Yeah. This pick has a 96% chance to be accepted.
Can you like throw in a 6th rounder there? See if that.
Let's see if we'll do like a 2025 6th rounder.
I love it. I'm taking that.
Make it a 5th rounder. We're getting more greedy here.
I'm taking that all day.
Okay, let's offer this trade.
Do it.
Love
it.
Here we go.
What if they don't take a quarterback here? Then the algorithm's really fucked.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, let's see.
They took Xavier Worthy.
Although, Steve, this is the Raiders. Let's be clear. So
true. Okay, but you did trade with the Raiders. You're fair. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Jerzon Newton, really quick before the last pick of the first round, Jerzon Newton. I know that was the dude who said, like they said, oh, you met with the Lions? He's like, yeah, I fuck with them. And that was like all he said.
Love it.
And, seems like a Dan Campbell guy. I will say one of the guys on my list that went right before our pick at 28 went to the Bills, Jackson Powers Johnson. I just want to tell you guys what I read about him in the 1,037 page Pro Football Focus draft guide
that you were reading while Wilson and I were talking live on a pod. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, exactly. That was it. It said one of the things I pointed out, it said, just talking about his strengths, his weaknesses, and just like one line in there kind of seemed out of place, but it said eater or destroyer of worlds mentality. Like, that's intense, and I love that. Destroyer of worlds mentality. I don't really entirely understand what that means, but I feel like that's something I want with me as opposed to against me. You know what I mean?
Mamba mentality. He's just going to destroy you. Yeah.
But destroyer of worlds, like your family, like everybody that lives on that world is done because of this guy. Like that is pretty intense. That's pretty intense.
I like that energy.
Yeah, me too.
And he's a center, which Frank Ragnow, we'll see what happens with him. I feel like he's hopefully got at least 2 more years left. We'll see, but like Lions got to start thinking about the line here. That's where I'm actually hoping as we move downward in this draft. Like they're going to take a guard or a tackle because unless they're going to re-sign Taylor Decker, like you're going to move Penei Sewell over to left tackle. You could be looking at maybe drafting a guard. They have to solidify the defensive line and the offensive line. My dad always says this, like, just draft big people and things normally end up okay.
Yeah.
Like in the first round, like just draft big dudes and like probably be all right. Like no one's going to fault you for like, oh, you took an offensive lineman. Like it's not sexy, but it's solid. And that's what we need.
Yeah. Really quick. Let's level set for a minute. So we traded back with the Raiders. We got pick 44, pick 77. So we will have, it's starting the second round. We haven't picked yet. We have 44, 61, 73, 77. Right. And then 164, 201s are going into the late rounds here.
I love it.
What's the plan? Right. Like what are our biggest needs? We haven't picked yet. Right.
Best player available. Don't care what position.
Really?
I mean, except for like quarterback and running back are probably the only two I'm not taking. Right. Literally every other position on the field I would take.
Like we need a receiver, we need a corner, we need a defensive tackle, we could use a center, we could use a safety. Yeah.
Okay.
If I had to say my one thing going into this draft that I think we're going to take early, I think we are going to take a safety. I'm just convinced on the depth there is not great. Like Brian Branch sounds like he's going to move back into safety this year. Kirby Joseph and Iffy are like, again, solid players, have not proven it over a consistent time frame. That's such a pick that Brad Holmes would make because it's an undervalued pick, like we said, that no one actually drafts high. And I could see them looking at a safety 100% early in this draft.
Yep. And then remember too, there's like that second wave of free agency that happens after the draft where everyone kind of plugs the holes. You still have like Quandre Diggs is still out there, right? I believe Stephon Gilmore. Like there's a lot of good secondary players, right? Defensive backs available. that you can fill the roster with, right? And be upgrades over what we have. So
Yeah.
I am on board with best player available. I do think we need I think we need offensive line, defensive line help. That's kind of the only two areas where I'm like, we got to get somebody here.
Yeah. Let's run it.
Let's run it. Want to go straight to our pick at 44?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about trading up to like pick 40 or anything like that.
And at this point, I don't even care about these guys getting drafted at 40.
Yeah, let's just talk about our guys.
Okay, so we're at pick 44.
Bo Nix, sick.
He's not there. Oh, he is there. And Michael Penix is there too.
Wow.
Kind of weird.
Oh, I love Roman Wilson. Oh, that'd be a great pick. It's probably a little early for him, but man, like he would be a great slot pick.
I like the Florida State defensive tackle, Braden Fisk. I think you say that.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's had a ton of production last year on the interior.
Yep.
I think he had a bunch of sacks. I would take him.
Okay. Yeah. I like Fisk, and I like another guy that was picked at 39 that I like is Zach Frazier. He's that center from West Virginia.
Yeah, he's
solid,
he was
there. I would have picked him. He was a 4-time wrestling state champion. Those guys are like they're bred different. To beat, you're beating seniors when you're a freshman. That's a little wild, right? I like Adisa Isaac here too.
Yeah, me too.
At rush position.
I'm only thinking we go defense here because I trust Holmes to pick like an offensive guy later in the draft. I think you just take defense because we need help.
Okay.
So I would say Isaac or Fisk would be.
Yeah, I'd be great with either of those guys.
Yeah.
All right, let's we're at pick 44. The 44th ranked player is Fisk. We're taking him?
Yeah,
let's take him.
Yeah, let's take him.
It's funny. He's one of the guys I had written down that
Wilson. So did I.
Yeah, I like him too. And now we have pick 61, our second pick in the first round. Michael Penix still available.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. This thing does not know what it's doing.
Yeah, a little.
Hey, maybe it does though. Maybe it does. We'll see.
So some notable names: T.J. Tampa, cornerback from Iowa State; Jaden Hicks, safety from Washington State; Chris Braswell, edge rusher from Alabama; Christian Haynes, guard from Connecticut. I think this is a Brad Campbell or a Dan Campbell guy.
Yeah. I think you got to go line here. I think you got to go offensive line. I mean, here's the thing. We know that they need a corner. If the draft shakes out this way, I think you're going to see what we like. I think we're going to draft a corner and we are going to draft a wide receiver. I think those are going to be taken. But I think this is where you pick like a Jonah Jackson, right? Like this is where you just pick that guard and you let him sit because he doesn't have to start this year. And he sits behind. And at that point, Steve, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, like you're probably looking at maybe re-signing Taylor Decker if that's the case, if you don't get a top end tackle this year, which is fine. So I would say go
short deal. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say go offensive line here.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like Christian Haynes. Really quick, let's read what it says about him. Ideal build for interior offensive lineman, shorter height. I want to see if they talk about.
I mean, he's got long arms, which is good, which means he could potentially shift to the tackle spot if you needed him to, because he's got long arms, which is what you kind of look for. You don't want a guard that's got short arms, because then when you get to tackle, it's even more exposed. You think when you're on the offensive guard line, like you don't have them, you essentially have you got the guys to your right and your left. That's why tackle so hard, because you really got to stretch to the outside. So
this was the guy. So we'll take Christian Haynes. This was the guy, I want to say, it was like a viral clip that came out during the Senior Bowl, and he went up against, I think it was Byron Murphy from Texas.
Yeah.
And
manhandled him.
Love that. I think this is a guy that I'm probably going to be wrong on the names, but I think this is the guy that, he showed out really well at the Senior Bowl. Obviously the Lions were there. This is something that I think fits a lot with what we're trying to build here.
Take him.
Sweet. All right, moving.
And now, because we're such good GMs, we have 2 more picks for us to choose here in the early rounds.
Yep. Two third-round picks, so we don't have a 4th-round pick. So these last 2 picks, pick 73 and 77, will be what we have left. Jeez, knocking shit over on my desk.
Let's take a look at receivers that are available.
Yeah.
Here.
Let's see.
Yeah. Check out receivers and corners. That's what I'm
Okay.
curious at too.
Devontae Walker. This is a guy I like too. 6'2", 200 pounds. Incredibly explosive, consistently catches with his hands, like a snag grabs through contact. I mean, I think this is kind of along the lines of that X receiver.
Yeah, which is what we need.
That we kind of need. Another name I like here is Johnny Wilson. Talk about size. This guy's he's 6'7", 237.
Love that.
He does have a hands problem. He's got a hands problem.
He sounds like Josh Reynolds.
Don't
He's
like
big,
that.
Got a hands problem.
Yeah.
I do like his last name. So I'd be down with taking this guy. I mean, 6'7", dude.
That's big.
That's a big target.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably only really like 6'5", but
yeah, right.
Only 6'5". Here, me at 5'7.5".
It is scary that they say that he's got a problem with catching, but I mean,
makes me a little worried because JMO doesn't have the surest hands either.
Exactly.
Now and I think it also comes down to like, what do you think JMO's going to be? Like when we drafted him, like he is slated to be that X guy that's on the outside.
Yeah.
The problem with him is he's got to bulk up. Like you need that guy in the red zone now. I feel like our tight ends are so strong, right? Like Sam Laporta does that a lot, but Reynolds was great in those like high contested catches is what like the high point the ball. Like that's what the Lions need, I think, which is why I do like a bigger receiver. Steve, can you check out corners real quick? Just see who's on there for corners. I'm just curious because I think this is probably where I'm going is one of these two spots here.
Oh, we gotta uncheck.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Ooh, I see that top guy is on my list.
Tyree Jackson.
Tyree Jackson's on my list.
I like Carson. I like Carson.
I like Kalen Carson too.
I love Kalen
He's my
Carson.
guy. Yeah.
He is like he's been rumored too. I've read some articles that like love him going to the Lions. He's just supposed to be a dog, but
yeah,
I'd be good with Jackson, Carson, or the wide receiver that is
how big is Carson? I like Jackson because of his size.
Yeah, he's got decent size. He's 6 foot 195.
Okay.
He's a good run. He's a good run defender, and his physicality, his calling card is physicality,
which is what I like. Which is what we need. We do not have good corners.
Like he's gonna jam you at the line. He's not gonna be like an island coverage kind of guy. I mean, you never know with these cornerbacks, right? You get a third round cornerback, might turn into L'Jarius Sneed or something like that, but he's gonna hit you at the line. He's gonna make you feel his presence when he's on you. So
I don't
press man coverage like it.
Yeah, the thing is, if you read there, that little description said he's better in his zone scheme. We are not going to be playing zone this year. They're going to be playing man to man. Now you could run man on, like you could run like one high safety, right? And then if in that case, if you leave Davis on his own, then you can rotate a safety to help cover whatever the weak side corner is, which is probably what they're going to end up doing this year. So you could run a bit of a zone help there if you wanted to, but I'm personally looking for more of a man corner, but that's what makes it hard to draft him here because it's hard to draft a guy coming out of college and be like, I need you to go play man to man on Justin Jefferson. Like good luck.
After looking at these, what I would do is I'd go back to receiver and I would take Walker.
Yeah,
this pick.
I agree.
All right,
I'm with you.
I like it.
Then I think we go corner next round because there's enough guys there. Yeah,
we don't have to wait long. So we take Montez Walker at 73. And then it goes Jalen Wright, Junior Colston, Spencer Rattler.
So all the same guys are still there.
All the same guys are still in the corner.
Yep. I'd say we take Jackson. I'm giving up on Carson here because of the zone play.
And Jackson, I think he's like 6'2".
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's 6'3".
And what 6'3"? Yeah. What I like about this is that they say, I was just reading this description as you had it up, that his biggest negative is his anticipation. And that's something that you actually can learn. Like it's harder to learn the athleticism, that you can't learn the size. You can teach him to, and it just comes with more reps, that anticipation and to read routes a little bit better. So the upside, I think, is bigger there with somebody who that's their weak point.
I agree. You guys are witnessing me being sold in real time because I was a big Kalen Carson guy. One of his weaknesses too is also his top end speed. So I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he'll ever really pan out to CB1, right? To like that island coverage guy. So I think Jackson kind of has a little bit more of it, like, the skill set of that of a press man cornerback. That's more so what we need. And especially if we can go out in this second half of free agency and get another complimentary guy here for him to kind of learn with, would be really cool. So yeah, I'm going to go Kyrie Jackson here with you, Wilson.
Nice.
Love it. That's it.
If we did these picks that we just did here, trade down, and have 4 picks here in the first 3 rounds, man, I'd be pretty stoked about the guys that we got.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. And here's the thing. If Holmes likes it, I'm good with it. Like, I have that blind faith in him right now. Like, if he sees the guy he likes, I fully trust him. He's not going to pick off of need. It's not what he's going to do. He's going to pick best player available. We could see something crazy happen where he takes like a tight end. Like, if Bowers drops or he likes him and he wants to go up to 20 to get him, go get him. Like, I trust him. Like, go get your guy, which is why I think he's going to move up. If I had to say move up or trade down, I think he's moving up.
Although I would say if he takes a tight end, I'm going to be very confused because we just matched Brock Wright and we have like the best rookie tight end in years. So that would be one that would be head scratcher.
Well, I think you have to care about Bowers. Bowers is a tight end. He's Wilson. Think of him as Bowers is a slot big receiver guy. Like,
okay, that's fair.
Like, we say tight end, he's going to flex all over the field.
Yeah,
and again, I'm not saying it's going to be Bowers. I just mean, like, it would not shock me for him to take like a tight end, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why did you just do that? That's what he does.
Imagine having Bowers, Laporta, Gibbs,
insane,
Monra, JMO, and you could, if you got Bowers in the first round, you still put the rest of this draft together. You got Devontae Walker too.
Yeah, it's great.
Which they gave us a C+ on.
Screw them.
Yeah. They also had the Patriots taking Marvin Harrison over quarterback. So
true.
Yeah.
I'm not really too concerned.
This was great. I love this. I like who we got. So highlight here. We got Braden Fisk at number 44, Christian Haynes, guard at 61, Devontae Walker, receiver at 73, Kyrie Jackson, cornerback at 77. Literally, we filled every single need that we had.
And the big move that we did was we traded that 29th pick to get those 4 spots there in the first 3 rounds.
I love it.
And we got an additional pick for next year, just a late rounder, a 5th rounder. And I think all 4 of these guys can probably come in and be impact players, right? Maybe not everybody's a starter, but guys that are going to get in the rotation, right?
Yeah.
They're going to get minutes, they're going to get snaps, and they're going to make an impact.
Depth.
Fill out the squad,
That's right. Depth pieces. We don't. We could start tomorrow and we'd have every position filled up, except maybe for cornerback 2 would be the only one that would be questionable.
Right.
But everything else, like, we're set to roll, which is what Brad Holmes loves. So
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I love this.
Done, boys.
And we've set ourselves up to look like geniuses. If any of these guys pan out, we can come back to this and show, look at this. We said take them.
Yep, exactly. And I think, Tom Gores is out there hiring right now, too, for GMs. I think he should just, pop this on while he's in the tandem bed. And
I was just going to say, if he ever gets out of that tandem bed.
Yeah, right. Well, he's got those little eye goggles on and a little sock on his nuts. And he can come out and he can listen to us and say, hey, you know what? These guys should probably run the Pistons and pop Troy Weaver as soon as we get through the door.
What an idiot.
God, I love it. Steve, you crack me up with this Tom Gore stuff. Oh, my
God.
God.
So to wrap this up, Steve, no explanation needed. Are Lions staying at 29, trading up, or trading down?
I think we're moving one direction or another. I think
you have to pick. Are we trading up? Or are we moving back?
Back.
Okay.
We're moving back.
Wilson?
You've sold me. I want us to move back. I originally thought we were going to stay at 29. I think that the options are going to be too open for us, and we're going to see that it's better for us to move back.
I think we are moving up.
Man, oh man.
Move up and go for it.
I'm
not saying I want that, Wilson. I want to be clear with that. I just think he's going to. I just get that vibe. Yeah. He's going to do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be against it because obviously, like we said, he's earned that right and the trust. But I would really be like, man, this better pan out because depending on how much we have to give up for that, I think we're gonna have to give up a lot, like to move up to unless, like I said earlier, it's like a pick or 2 that they move up. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're moving up to 20, you're giving up your first round pick and probably like your second or a third. Like you're not giving up like 4 picks.
That's kind of a lot. Like what we just said here, we need depth.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, if you see your guy, like if he's got 15 first round grades, and that's all he's got. Like he's going to care about like get me my first guy, and then maybe he trades back. Again, Holmes loves those 4 or 5, 6 round picks. That's where
He does.
That's where he likes to cook. So,
and I'd have to trust him over myself
for sure.
So,
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Is there a position that you guys think he doesn't touch?
Quarterback and running back.
Well, okay, let's get quarterback and running back off the board, obviously.
Well, you asked the question. I don't know. Yeah.
No, you're right. No, you're right. You're right.
I don't know if it would be that big of a shock if in like the last round we took a running back. I mean,
yeah,
somebody that's maybe going to be more of a pass catching running back. That does, I don't know. I wouldn't be that shocked.
Are we taking kicker?
Yeah. Will Reichard from Bama. Taking him,
dude.
Dude, we're signing the guy from the Michigan Panthers. What are you talking about? We're gonna sign that guy. The guy hasn't kicked a field goal since high school and was kicking like 65-yard bombs at Ford Field. That's who.
Are you kidding me?
In front of like 419 people.
Yeah,
I did not hear about this. That's insane.
Yeah, dude. You should look him up. He's been an absolute stud. So
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this was a blast.
We got any bets? I got a couple bets. I'm gonna throw in.
I do. I have one bet. And it's the most simple bet that I've ever made.
Talk to me, Goose.
For this pod.
What is it?
So it's one thing, but it's one of those where it's like a two things need to happen, but it's one bet set up on FanDuel because it's a first half winner and full-time winner.
Love that.
So
I got you into that first half winner. Didn't
you did because we won on that.
That's right, we did.
So this is for this upcoming Wednesday.
Okay.
For the Heat versus Celtics.
Okay.
And I'm actually taking the Heat to be up at halftime, but the Celtics to win.
Oh. Okay. What inspired that, if I may ask?
I mean, the Heat just kind of got embarrassed. I could see them coming back, pretty strong. This would be game 3. So they're going to be in Miami.
Yep.
And I don't know, that altercation with Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. And then Tyler Hero came back that next game and lit it up in the play-in. I could see Tyler Hero going off in that first half, like coming out strong, but the Celtics are just going to be too much for him. So that's plus 700 right there.
I love that. I like it. Okay. Steve, I'll go real quick because I'm sure you're looking yours up based on how you prepared for tonight.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, just calling me right out.
No problem.
It's all right.
Hey, you're becoming a fan favorite and regular on here, which means I'm allowed to call you out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like, if I would power rank myself on your guest, though, I'd probably come in at 3rd. Billy just was too good, and your dad's your dad, so
yeah,
I gotta step up. I gotta find.
my dad's my dad. Like, what are you gonna do? But
but he's the man.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. He's always gonna be ranked number 1 in my book.
Yeah. And Billy just had great stories. I mean, if you guys want an inside peek of what the day of a marketing intern in minor league baseball was like, I'm happy to give you behind the doors. But no,
I think we're good.
Anyway. Okay, appreciate it. Yeah. Throw it out there. I'm just kidding. It's always on the table if you want it.
You're the top guest in my heart, Steve.
Yeah, I love it. I'm going NBA futures. Wilson, I told you this. I'm going to fire a couple shots here. I'm going to do NBA champion odds.
Okay.
I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit here on a couple different teams because the odds are so good. So the Bucks are plus 1,600 to win the title.
And that's because of Giannis's injury. But then you saw Damian Lillard go off tonight. Right. Before we hopped on, he went off for 35 in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on there. Like, I know Celtics for sure. Like, Celtics Nuggets are probably like the favorites to meet in the finals. I at least for my thoughts and based on the odds here, like Boston's plus 120 to win. Denver's plus 290. Then you have the Clippers at plus 1,200. They're the next. Like, I like the Bucks over the Clippers in this case, just because I like the experience of the Bucks, and I think the Clippers are frauds, but that's just me.
Okay.
So I like the Bucks at plus 1,600. I'm going to throw a little bit there. I like the Knicks. Just a little sprinkle, plus 2,000. So I know these are like wild bets, but like you throw $1, $2, $3 on these, and just like if they hit, that's great, or at least if they make it.
I don't even think it's that wild. Like nobody would have put the Knicks at the number 2 spot coming into the year this year.
Yeah.
man, they could do anything.
And I like OKC at plus 1,700. So
they're at plus 1,700. That's
to win the
shocking.
finals. Yes.
I mean, they got who I would say is my MVP this year in SGA. I mean, that dude, what he averaged? What he averaged? 30 plus a game.
Insane. He's
Only
just insane.
First player to do that in back-to-back seasons with 50% field goal percentage since Michael Jordan did it, and actually only player to do it other than Michael Jordan.
Right. So
I like
Piston.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm just sprinkling a couple of bucks on those because I just think it's like, why not? Again, I think Boston's obviously the favorite this year, with Denver probably coming out of the West, but I just like those other teams. Like Boston hasn't done it the last couple of years, so who knows what can happen?
Why not name that artist?
Yeah. Wow.
Why not?
Wow. What is this? Justin Timberlake?
Crazy chance. Why not do a crazy dance? Name that artist. It's Hillary Duff. It's Hillary Duff.
Oh, yeah. No, I do.
Did not know that.
I should know that. I'm a big
Wilson,
Hillary
you
Duff
have
fan.
the voice of an angel.
Wow, man. Yeah. First time singing on the pod.
I thought you were going to sing April in the D, but you didn't. Okay.
Come on.
First time for Robbie singing on the pod, too.
That's right.
No, Robbie and I sang a while back.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Steve, what do you got? Let's wrap this thing up.
All right. So I got all NBA. It's a 4-leg parlay. I got the Magic plus 5.5 on that's tomorrow, Monday. The Knicks money line. I just love the Knicks, man. I don't know why. Jalen Brunson is so good. He's so good. I don't doubt him. I don't doubt the Knicks of getting to like that next level they've all been waiting to get to for the last few years. So I got Knicks money line tomorrow, over 214 for the Suns Timberwolves. I'm not going to touch the Suns at all. I don't know what's going on there. I feel like it's going to be a shit show after this season with Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker.
They need Devin Booker to step up. I mean, Bradley Beal and Devin Booker showed out in that last game. KD had like 30. Bradley Beal was hitting some great shots. And where was Devin Booker? I mean, he scored some points, but in the clutch moments, he wasn't there. That's what they're missing.
Devin Booker's at the tanning salon with Tom Gores trying to get traded here. Hopefully, at least. And then the Mavericks money line, Robbie, I'm with you. The Clippers are absolute frauds. I don't trust any team with James Harden from the get-go. But so I got Mavs money line over 214 for Suns Timbies, Knicks money line, and Magic plus 5.5. That's plus 860. So pretty good.
Love that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the NBA playoffs, man. Anything can happen. And it's just an exciting time of year. So
anything is possible.
I have been watching like too much. It's actually been hurting me right now that I haven't been able to watch any of this Pelicans Thunder game, and I'm following along with the score. It's 36-36. You better believe that the rest of the night I'm going to be laying in my bed and watching my son on the monitor on one screen and my phone watching this game on the other.
And then editing this pod to get it out before the draft on Thursday. Sick.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be probably doing that at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Actually.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
Look at you. When do you sleep?
I don't sleep, dude.
Good. Neither do I.
I was gonna say, hopefully, we'll maybe jump on later this week, like just on like a quick like post draft like update, just kind of what we think maybe after the first night or second night, or maybe we'll just post it on the Instagram too. But just want to get some live reaction going.
That sounds great. Well, congrats, guys, on our longest episode ever.
It's great. It's good.
Right on.
It was.
Everyone loves the NFL. We knew this one was going to be big because it has to be.
Yeah.
So it's great.
It's awesome. All right, guys. Well, this was a lot of fun. As always, thank you, everybody, for listening. If you have a second, please like, share, rate the podcast. But like I said, follow us on YouTube. And we'll see you back here very soon on Take the Points.
True Underdog Podcast.